We help the local authority and develop regions, and in the particular context of France now, I think it's very important to help the regions and not only the metropoles. We manage banking services for all the justice system. We promote and finance sustainable development, and we manage pensions for 1 in 5 French citizens. And we have also subsidiaries in many sectors, like insurance with CNP, real estate with ICAD or CDC Habitat, construction engineering with Aegis, transportation with Transdev, and public investment banking with BPI France. And we are a trusted third party, sorry. And for us, when we began to understand what is blockchain, it was very important to work on that, because all the people said that blockchain will make disappear the trust party. For the moment, we are here, and here for more than 200 years, so it's okay. And we began first with a French consortium named LaBChain on finance insurance. And we are now 34 partners. There is some of them in the room. The objective of LaBChain was to understand what is the technology blockchain and crypto active and crypto asset, and to work together with the startups here and not only with the banks or some other population. So now you have some of the startups in here in the room too. And the second step was to try to find new use cases for our clients or for the French ecosystem. And for example, we launched a company named QuickShare. I think we have the CEO in the room, Thibault, working on the post-market on blockchain. And if we do that, it's also due to the regulation in France was opening on the subject on the SMEs non-listed. And the third steps, we work also to help some other industry to work on the subject, and to work also hand-to-hand with the regulator. There is IMF in the room, but we work also with Treasury, French Treasury. And in this context, we delighted to host the Observatory and Forum and bring together all of you the day. We began in this room until 12, I think, again. After we will eat in the coffee room, and after we will go in another room in the same place, just near from here. Thank you. You want me to announce the panel, or you do it?
No, we'll do it later. Thanks.
Okay.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you.
Merci, Nadia.
Désolée pour le personnel de la Caisse de dépôt, je n'ai pas respecté la loi Toubon qui m'oblige à parler en français en fait.
And now a few words from Peteris, Zilgalvis from the European Commission.
Je vais parler en anglais aussi cette fois. Okay, so welcome everyone. I won't be long. We want to start the panel, we want to start the discussions, but just on behalf of the European Commission, I want to underline how seriously we take and how much we appreciate this work. These inputs coming from the Blockchain Observatory and Forum, both from the members of the consortium who are working permanently, as well as from those who are either taking part in the working parties or coming from the workshops, are very useful inputs for our policy making, our other activities. Just to very briefly draw the landscape for those who are not familiar with it, we have the European Blockchain Partnership of 26 EU member states and Norway that is launching already next year, a European blockchain services infrastructure with 4 use cases in RegTech and in certification and notarization of documents, of diplomas and work qualifications. And then further, we're also assisting in the launching of a private stakeholders association, a global one, in order to encourage collaboration and interoperability between blockchain. There'll be more news coming on that very soon. That was announced by Maria Gabriel. And then just to turn to the title of today's discussion, smart contracts and blockchain. The European Commission is not going to have a regulation on blockchain saying what it should do. We're technology neutral. We don't have a regulation or a directive on servers, transistors, and so on. What we are thinking of, and this is of course for our new political leadership, we'll have our European Parliament elections in May across Europe, and we'll have a new set of commissioners next year. So these are propositions to them. This is not legislation that will come out still under this commission, but if they wish, they will be assessing on the basis of what we all discussed today and which we discussed in other forums, whether there's something that needs to be undertaken to remove barriers to blockchain, whether we need to do something to give legal recognition to smart contracts across borders, making sure that they are not in a fragmented landscape of different laws in France, in Germany, in Ireland, Estonia, Latvia, etc. And then also on tokenization, which is something, again, we're looking in an enabling manner, whether there's something that should be done, particularly for the utility tokens. We'll hear very soon in the panel also about the work that's being done by ESMA on security tokens, and which may also cover, I mean, it's also for us to follow and find out in the European Commission some aspect or maybe even all of the utility space, but that is to see still from their opinion and report, which is coming out towards the end of December, and I look forward as well myself to hear the newest on that. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your participation. And I give the floor back to our organizers, the Blockchain Observatory and Forum. And thank you to our hosts in Casa de Bol.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Timsit. I work at ConsenSys, and I am part of the team that supports the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum, has been since February of this year and for the next year and a half. I'm very glad to welcome you all here. We've been making significant progress with the Observatory and Forum, first mapping around 500 innovative blockchain initiatives across Europe to give transparency to the ecosystem here, and then tackling a number of important questions, so through our thematic reports, which are published on our website, such as number one, what is the level of innovation in the blockchain ecosystem in Europe? How competitive is Europe? So that was the first report. The second report was about the GDPR, intersection between GDPR and blockchain, and how to potentially resolve the contradictions between those two frameworks. We just recently published a third report about government services, so application of blockchain in public services and in the realm of digital identity. And today's workshop is the continuation of this important work to try and frame how we can progress and promote the ecosystem here. Today we have a few objectives. First of all, and they are all priority ones, as you can see, all number one objectives. So we want to talk about what are the legal issues, the legal and regulatory issues raised by the utilization of blockchain and smart contracts in their industrial applications. By industrial applications, we mean when we are primarily using the blockchain as a decentralized database, as a distributed ledger. We want to essentially collect as much input as we can, and that's the second objective. We don't necessarily want to triage or reach consensus today. We want to really collect as many ideas from you as possible, and we would like those ideas to be as concrete as possible, right? So not just let's promote research, but specific action steps by which we can promote innovation and academic research. Is that through grants, professional education, academic programs, academic curriculum, etc. So those recommendations, everyone here in the room is free to issue recommendations. we really want your input. Those inputs will be incorporated in the form of a thematic report that will be published in a few weeks. The session is recorded, so for those of you in official positions, just be aware of that. And the recording will be published on our YouTube page and also on the website of the Observatory and Forum. So we want really to hold this workshop in an informal spirit, in the spirit of constructive discussions. And here's how we'll manage the day. So in the morning we have two panel discussions, one about generally the legal and regulatory framework that applies to blockchain and blockchain applications. And the second panel that is much more focused and talks about smart contracts, which, as you know, are not really contracts, but more software applications. And so what is the legal status of those smart contracts, particularly when they trigger actions and transfers of value and property on a blockchain ledger. We'll have lunch all together in the break room, as Nadia mentioned. And then we'll have the afternoon discussions, which will be held in the form of workshop discussions without a panel. Not everyone in the room is invited to those discussions, given the limitations in room capacity. So if you have been invited, you will know from the invitation that you received. So the Loi Pacte and the ICO regulations currently being shaped in France are very important, but I think it's also very important that we don't purely focus on that, partly because ICO regulations have already been discussed at length by many local governments around the world, and so there's already there's no shortage of ideas as to how to regulate them. Whereas when it comes to smart contracts, the status of decentralized organizations, transfers of property, I think we are much more in the dark as to what specific measures we could become. So happy to talk about ICOs, but let's be disciplined and make sure that we tackle all subjects and not focus on a single one. Thanks a lot.
And I think we want to call our panelists
Now, and Susan will introduce them and lead the discussion.